Okay, where do we begin? Let's start with yesterday. Hey, what are you doing? You better not. Yesterday, I thought I was going to go to the library. What are you doing? Let me try this again. Okay, yesterday, I thought I was going to the library to upload some charts. I was not aware it was a federal holiday. The library was closed, and so was the post office. So I rearranged my day and took care of some other personal business, grocery shopping, stuff like that. When I got home, apparently Kelly had an episode while I was gone and got caught up in my computer cords, and she drugged my speakers, my mouse, and my microphone, keyboard. Everything was on the floor. I didn't think anything about it. I picked it up and went about my business, and I laid down. I get up early in the morning or really late at night and to do charts. And when I got up, I noticed that my mouse, no matter how I scroll it, it only goes out. I took it apart and tried to fix it, but that didn't work either. Let me relaunch this. That's better. So when I sat down to do the charts, my mouse is not working. Well, I can pull it around. I don't have to use the scroll on it to do the charts, so no big deal. And then I find out my microphone's not working. My brand new microphone. This is like the second one I've been through in just months now. And it seems to be a habit with me. I know the audio's bad on this. I'm having to use that crappy headset microphone, and it ain't worth the crap. So I'm making this video letting you guys know what's going on. Still no internet. They're busy putting lipstick on this pig. They broke the ground yesterday. The new parking lot is now going to be a casino. They're putting a building in with slot machines in it so they can get more money out of us. Okay, you're just all in an uproar this morning, aren't you? So I'm gonna go to the library. Hey, no, let me finish this, please. Get this uploaded, get a few charts uploaded, and I guess I'm going by Best Buy and pick me up a mouse and a new microphone. It just seems to be a habit with me. I don't know what it is with me and microphones. Other than that, I've had a pretty good week. How about you guys? I am so off-grid. I don't know what's going on. I've been without internet so long. Last week, my email and my comments were off the charts. Y'all are just going to have to be patient with me getting to your emails alone. And a lot of those comments, I don't know when I'm going to find, if ever I find time to see them. On your little scroll down thing, Google just lets you see what they want you to see anyway. So many, not only are videos filtered, but comments are filtered as well. And some of the comments I went through, that's what I want to talk about. Because a lot of you are really stressed out right now. And the pressure is on. But that's for everybody. But life itself is how we perceive it. If you continue to focus on the negativity, which that really comes up in Virgo, it's a very analytical sign. You could think something to death. Sometimes it's, well, not sometimes, all the time. Some of the best advice that's ever been given to me is let go. When I tell you I opened my third eye as a child, that was the trigger. That was the key. Was I let go. I had nothing holding me to this place. I wanted no part of it. There was nothing that could keep me here. And if you call the word surrender if you want, but to me it was let go. Another word I've been struggling with is the word bless. And the reason I do, for several reasons. One, because it's also be less. So you need to be less. And mainly because of the Arabic. The word for the evil thing is Iblis, which is I bless. We say Iblis, so the word bliss cannot even be used. It's the same root. You throw away the vowels, you're left with BLS. And so benevolence. May you abound in benevolence and prosperity. I find that a much better word. I did a study on the word bless, and we get it from an old English root, but the Latin comes from a word that we get beneficiary from, or beneficence. Beneficence. Did I say that correct? But here, while the sun is here, of course, this is the epitome of this age, the damsel in distress, the victimization mentality of it all. Disney pushes it. You got to have the victim so you can have the hero, right? You know, they're really playing this generation, what I call the emo generation. They're the emotionally charged, and that is those with Pluto in Scorpio. But they are a magnificent generation. It's just they're being put out there, and it's not their time. It's not their time, and they're being put on the forefront. They're playing their cards too early, and they're being manipulated into doing it. But the thing about this sign is they're all about loyalty. This is about friendship and loyalty, and they are the heroes. And just like Hercules, this generation will wake up and realize, just like Hercules did, that the king that he was working for was the bad guy, was using him, manipulating him, and the hero wins. And that's the storyline here. That's how this is going to play out. But right now, it is the time for the end of Pluto and Leo and the beginning of Pluto and Virgo generation to manifest. The changeover happens in 2020, and Pluto and Virgo take power. It's their time. It's what that generation was born for. This generation, they just need to pull themselves together, sit down, and shut up, because they've got a couple decades yet before it's actually their turn. They're being put out on the front just because the media is giving them a voice. They really don't have anything to say or anything intelligent to say. That's why they do nothing but insult and slander, point fingers, and refuse to take responsibility for anything. But they will grow up, okay? It will happen. That is the hero generation. But they are being used, manipulated, duped. But, and again, it's about loyalty to them. And when they find out that they've been used for their loyalty, their strong convictions, the backlash will be horrendous. They'll have trouble finding forgiveness. But it's this generation's turn. You are not a damsel in distress. You are beloved. The woman with the alabaster box is so beloved. Out of all of them, she saw in him what nobody else saw. She realized the divinity of it all. What else can I tell you about stressing out? It's a lot of times we're under stress because we feel like we're fighting a war, and it's only a war because we perceive it that way. And I've been down some rough roads in my life. I do speak from experience, and I'm still here. I survived, so will you. I think the thing is, most people on my channel, or that you end up here, it all boils down to one thing, and that's to try to find a meaning to it all. What is the meaning of all of this? Why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? And that's a big question with big answers, and everybody's answer's different. Everybody's truth is different because everybody's cross is different. Even those of us that are on the same cross, because our planets align in different ways, we react in different ways. The whole thing here to me is to grow up. The greatest book I've ever read was the Bible, is the Bible, period. But you just simply have to know how to read it. And I understand that in this age, the biggest thing that we have to overcome is the illusion and the delusion, and the not knowing. Again, this age of Pisces, we look up to Virgo, right? But it's the age of illusion and delusion. It's all a sleight of hand. It's a word game that they played on us all. And everybody's truth is only truth to you. My truth is not the same as anybody else's because my cross is not the same. Everybody's is different, right down to the second. Two people can be born in the same place at the same time with the same rising sign. As a matter of fact, they've done studies on that, going back to even kings. A king and a pauper that were born at the same place at the same time. And they had very similar lives. They had the same number of children, the same number of illnesses, but one always remained a pauper and one always remained rich. It had nothing to do with the money. But the circumstances in their lives were very similar, right down to how many times they were married and when they died and how they died. So it is all embedded here. Today, we don't live our lives. That's why we have this need to know, because we don't. We've been kept in the dark for so long as a species. The greatest gift that any of us could ever hope to receive is memory. Wow, I'm doing this with the moon and the eye of Cetus, which is good because this is actually the people in the pews. This is what I call preaching to the choir. This is the sheepfold in this age, and this is where we're held. These are the people in the church. All of them. I don't care what religion you're under. Your main thing is a water ritual for every religion. You have a christening, a baptism. Even the Muslims, before they pray and before they eat, they must wash. Okay? Even the Hindus, the Sikhs, all of them, they have a wash ritual because it's all about passing through the water into the next stage. We all have to go. You must be born of water, of the womb, and then from above in the upper house. But memory, memory is represented by the hippocampus in the brain. It's connected to the thalamus and the pineal gland. It's represented by the white horse and Pegasus in the imagery and in all of it. Again, I have to refer you to Bill Donahue's work on Pegasus, Aquarius, Fomalhaut, all of these great work he done from the Greek. Right, it goes right along with what I'm doing from the Arabic and even from the Bible. Right, it all ties in together. It's all the same story, and it's telling us about the age to come. And that we're all kings. We're all kings and priests, right? You will all be kings and priests of our own domain. But this age, at this point in the name of the game, it appears that it's just a matter of survival, right? That this is all about survival. I am determined to get this video done, no matter how many interruptions. I have enough interruptions. I have, oh my goodness, I've made about 10 videos that I just simply don't have the ability to upload it. My priority is to try to get the frickin' charts finished. Alright, and get them uploaded. Getting them finished isn't the issue now. It's getting them uploaded. Hopefully, they'll get an internet done. Every day I just sit here and wait and wait and wait. And I'm waiting on nothing, right? Alright, last thing I want to talk about, I don't want to make this too long, because again, I'd like to spend my time uploading charts. I want to talk about Lodge 49. The season finale was absolutely fantabulous. I like making up my own words. It was absolutely fantabulous. I loved it. I loved the ending especially. I like what we call cliffhangers like that because my brain is really out there. I have Neptune in Libra, so my imagination is beyond the stars. And yeah, I went places with it. I was really happy with a lot of the symbolism. Speaking of the hero character, all of these are archetypes that they're showing us that are members of the Lodge. Can you tell who is who? Do you know who the hero character is in Lodge 49? How many of you could actually figure that out? They all have their little stories and archetypes about them, and you have to figure out who's who. You have the alchemist, and you have the apothecary, which is Blaze. Obviously the Fool card, the tarot card, that's going to be Dud. He's the apprentice, right? He's on the fool's journey. He just happenstance and stumbles through life, which is really what this age is about. It's about blind faith and belief. The question is what it is we believe, because everything we've been given by the priesthoods have all been lies. Everything we've been given by the historians are lies. There is no real one truth to anything. I'm telling you that 5 people can watch an accident happen and you're going to get 20 different stories of what was seen, because it's all about perception. And everybody in this age reminds me of, is her name Carol? No, Connie, the reporter, right? The reporter the journalist without a job, walking around with a blindfold on. We're all doing that in this age. Every one of us is walking around in a blindfold, feeling our way around in the dark. And when I say feeling, I'm talking about emotional feeling, that of Scorpio. That emotional feeling. That's how we move through the world, move through society and people. We do it based on how we feel about them. And to me, feelings are as deceptive as the eyes are. You're better off being blind. Can you blindfold your emotions? This age is very much ruled by, well, Jupiter, which is desire. And desire is covetousness. And you covet what you see. And that stems from jealousy, envy, which comes from feeling a lack of inadequacy, because you're not aware of who you are and your worth. If you knew who you were, I've said that from the beginning. It was the first thing I thought about this group that was called my family. Cinderella had it easy compared to I caught hell from all sides. My mother made me the scapegoat, so everybody made me the scapegoat. And I caught hell in every direction. And they had no love for me. They had no honor for me, no respect for me. I had nothing. But I had a knowing that they didn't have. And I knew who I was. I knew that I wasn't my body. I knew that I was a sentient being, and that I was loved, and that if they realized, if they would only remember who they were, that they wouldn't be treating me or each other the way they were treating each other. It was an abomination to me. It was horrendous. It was easy for me to open my third eye, because it was easy to let go. When you feel unloved, unwanted, total rejection, when this world don't want you and spit you out, It makes it easy to get there. A lot of you want to open your third eye. You want this spiritual connection. You want to walk in that land of milk and honey. But at the same time, are you ready to pay the price? Because it's everything. It costs everything. You have to surrender everything to get through the eye of the needle. You can't have any attachments to this world. And that means love and hate. That means any attachment to it. And once you reach that point, then you're small enough to go through the door. If you notice in the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid, you have the grand galley, they call it, where you go up the steps. But when you get into the king's chamber, to go through the doorway, you have to duck down. It's smaller. And the same thing in Lodge 49, when they was going into the philosophical egg room from the library through the fireplace. They go through the fireplace, which is the fornax represented by this constellation down here. You go through the fornax, and then you go through the eye of the needle to get to the thalamus that activates the pineal gland in the philosophical egg. That pathway, narrow, you had to get down. Just like for the camel to pass through the eye of the needle, which is a gate in the wall of the city of Jerusalem, you had to unload the camel. You had to take everything off of its back, and you had to get the camel down on its knees, because that gate was, the eye of the needle was made that only a man could walk through it. They closed the big gates at night, so only one person at a time could come through. So to get your camel through after the gates closed, you had to unload everything. You had to surrender it all. You couldn't take it through. Same thing with Lodge 49 and with the Great Pyramid, which is a representation of the pineal gland. I probably need to do a video on the Great Pyramid. There is so much about it. You know, biblically, when Jesus went into the desert and he was tempted by Satan, and Satan took him to the pinnacle of the temple and showed him all the kingdoms. That word pinnacle of the temple is the same word that they use for capstone for the Great Pyramid. It's the same word in the Aramaic. That language is so revealing. It's so revealing. I couldn't have done any of this had I never learned Arabic. And that was just a happenstance. How it all happened was, the story in itself is incredible. How I came to learn all these different languages. But I have always been fascinated with communication, which again has to do with Virgo. Mercury rules communication, and Mercury is exalted here. Thankfully, Venus is now in Libra. This is a big relief. We're on the, how am I 318 here? Wow. That's just crazy. Okay, no, I'm reading the whole thing backwards. You can tell I hadn't been up very long, and my mind is kind of shot. I got up, and it's just been one computer problem after another. But I wanted to get something done to let you guys know where I'm at. Be patient with me. I'm getting there. I'm not the only one fussing about the internet. These kids are in school. They have homework. A lot of them are required, and they're not getting their time either. And the lady at the library last week was mean to me. I have been going in there, and there's nobody in there. I mean, when I go in there, it's like the only thing that people that go in there anymore are seniors, and Most of them are men, and they just sit there and piddle all day long. But nobody uses those computers, and I was using 2 at a time. And one lady, she told me I could, no problem, nobody was using them. But the way you check in, you're assigned to a computer. And the other lady jumped all over me and threatened to throw me out of the library and all kind of shit. You just never can tell what you're going to get from people. But just surrender it all. This life is not what we think it is. Its meaning is probably more than we could ever imagine. Because to me, it's not about your body, and it's not about survival. It's about your soul. It's about your spirit and the evolution of consciousness, not the evolution of humanity and mankind. Somebody asked me about the word humanity. This is what I know. Okay, everything that we have, it comes from Orient. It comes from origin. And I have, out of all the languages I've studied, the one I have the most trouble with are the Oriental languages, especially Chinese. I can do Japanese a little bit, but Chinese is very, very hard. And but what I did learn is what they call the Western people, and they call them Hu, H-U. And they referred to I read it in scripts where this ancient Chinese historian was writing about what they knew of the people of Rome. It's kind of the reverse Marco Polo story. They have a Chinaman who went to Rome and came back and told them what all he saw. And he called them the Hu people, the human, right? He's human. And when you're going through the text, you come to see that that word Hu meant Western. That's what it meant. It meant the Western man. Because they were the Eastern people, right? The people of the rising sun. And that's what I know about, of course, hue meaning color from the Greek. It means shade or color. It's a tone, a shade, a color. But human, from the Chinese, Orient, origin, that's the oldest I've been able to trace it, and it means Western man. Alright, I'm cutting this now. I'll be back next week with a video unless my internet comes back on, and then, wow, have I got some videos to upload. And I'll save those for then. Y'all have a great day. May the benevolence of the universe shower upon you all.